So I try not to take chances. My father is a pastor. He's 82 years old, still pastors. My father-in-law was a pastor. He was so much of a pastor that he passed away in the baptistry. True story. And so I learned from them to be very short. They could be long-winded, and 7 boys got very bored. We got so bored. Y'all hear me good here? We'll make sure. So bored. Apparently one of the deacons, this is God's honest truth, showed up at our house in August one night. He said, "Pastor Rose," we could hear him through the window, "you do not discipline your children enough." And I rolled over, and this is the exact words I said to my twin brother. I said, "David, we get a spanking every Sunday after church. What is he talking about?" And to this day, that deacon did not believe that my dad disciplined his children enough. But I'll tell you, I had a great father. He's a good pastor, raised 7 kids, brought us to Kingsport in 1985, and I've lived here ever since. Raised my children here. Actually, have one of my brothers still lives here, and I was honored to be hired as the economic developer for the city of Kingsport. I'm gonna get my clicker right here so I don't get away from it, but we got to get the elephant out of the room, and so I said if we're going to get the elephant out of the room, we have to have an elephant. And so everybody, they've joked for years, says, "Are you getting a Red Lobster?" Right? Are you getting a Red Lobster? Well, I'm telling you that I did get one. I ordered it from Amazon Prime on Monday. It showed up on Wednesday, so I got my Red Lobster, and I can't get asked that question anymore. And but a good announcement we have today is we do have a Tractor Supply, an extra one. We're getting 2. The one that's already here, we're getting a new Tractor Supply on the east end of town, out past Pavilion 2. They're supposed to have their pre-con meeting on the 17th and break ground on the 17th. So we're very, very excited about that. And then this morning, I was getting ready for work, and I was like, there's so much going on. We've had COVID. Now we got a gas shortage. I've decided that I'm not scheduling anything else because I told my wife when we got married, we're celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary this week. I was like, on our honeymoon, said we're going to go back to Key West on our 10th anniversary. That is not true. An 8-year-old and 2 6-year-olds were at Disney World with the in-laws on the 10th anniversary. On the 20th anniversary, we had a family emergency to go on our honeymoon, had to cancel the cruise. So we said, we're going to go back to Key West on our 25th anniversary. And then COVID comes, we had to cancel that cruise. So I said, babe, let's do something that we can absolutely not get canceled. Let's do a road trip. And now if you look on your gas stations, we were going to North Carolina, and which state has the least amount of gas? So we are not planning anything for our 30th anniversary. We're just going, we might have to, but so we're not planning any more anniversary things either, but it's been a good 25 years. Had this come on my personal Facebook feed. I shared this with another Rotary group. This is a person out of New York that's never been to Kingsport. Actually, never been to Tennessee. Right here, never been here. And he says, I want to move to Knoxville. Well, somebody jumps on the Facebook page. I had to block some words out because they're not appropriate for this setting. As Knoxville is a complete dump, there's absolutely nothing worth burning in that godforsaken, some other words. Stay away. Go to Kodak, Newmarket. So I immediately jumped on and says, no, all those places are dumps. Come to Kingsport. I did not do that. We've referred them to Jeff Fleming. And you would not believe the number of people in the meetings I'm in, guys, that have people moving to Kingsport that have never been to Tennessee, buying houses sight unseen. And I didn't see that until it started happening to me personally with people showing up on Facebook feeds of seeing what's going on. And that's why we have the caption, housing, housing, housing. It's one of the number one topics that we look at. So the city manager and I had a discussion early in the year, said, let's see how many lots are being developed, either through concept, design, or actually under construction. Well, in February of 21, there was around 600 lots at some stage of production in Kingsport, in the city limits. That does not include houses in the county. We redid the numbers in April of 2021, and that's how many's getting at some point of design, concept, contract, getting ready to start. So the housing situation that everybody said we have been sort of behind on over the next 24 to 36 months is really going to see a lot of increase in residents in Kingsport. If we fill this many homes, it's going to change the look on the census and stuff like that. And since then, we've had other phone calls of people looking at buying land and doing developments in the city limits of Kingsport. So that number can change it. It's not just light speed anymore. It can change at warp speed. And we're excited and this is not just one developer. There's many developers that are looking at doing this. And so we're really excited about the housing. This map here is going to show you where all these developments that I've talked about are at. So we have over here in Colonial Heights area, we have them. That one there is actually where the old Walmart was on West Stone Drive. This one is over at Cherokee Bend that Joe Begley did. Just got a new phase there. We have them over here, some new units for the Retreat at Meadowview, which is an apartment complex. Have them out at Gibson Springs, 40-some new units there. Hunt's Crossing, it has sat dormant for quite a few years, very slow. They've actually sold that. There's a group of 4 builders that has that. They've submitted designs for 50-some homes there. So excited to see that subdivision take off. Then we have, there's one up here in the off of John B. Dennis area called Friley Court. And then we have this one here called Cox Valley, which is another single family development. This here would be the townhomes that's getting ready to happen on Main Street on a property that KDB sold. And then this here is the townhome development that's in the city limits, but on the Hawkins County side of the river. And I got pictures of these that we're going to show you here in a moment. That way it's just not a star on the board. And then with a Brickyard RFP is out. We're going to talk about that here in a little while. That's here in the downtown. Also, there's an extension of Edinburgh they're calling Everett's Valley that has 50-some lots in it down here. And then we have Miller Park off of Breckenridge. That's off the Fordtown area. Well over 100 homes designed for that site. And then we have St. Andrews Garth, which is an extension of a subdivision that started probably 15 years ago. The lady moved away, Cynthia Gerber, didn't develop it, ended up selling the property, so now it's come back to life, and they've submitted plans to the city, working on some adjustments on those plans right now. And then up here, upper right-hand corner, the reason there's not on the board is because it's developments that people have just verbally talked to us about on the east end of town and haven't named their subdivision and haven't given public details. And there's also another one on the west end of town. So you can see that we have a very good distribution. When them 2 stars get added to the east end of the city, the housing is being very well distributed over a large portion of the city limits. So we're very excited about that. This here is West Park, the old Walmart site. That's some pads they're getting ready to pave. They're supposed to pave this week if weather allows. Cherokee Bend's the one out in Highland. There's already 3 homes, I believe, under construction in this phase 2. The first phase is sold out. This is Gibson Springs, where there's 40-some lots. And this is the next phase that is getting ready to have construction started on it. Hunt's Crossing is the one we talked about before. Ran out there this morning. This was the only picture I didn't have, so I ran out there early this morning and got a picture. And we were joking earlier about the price of lumber, so the new form of currency is going to be OSB and 4x8 sheets is what it feels like. And so that's the most valuable thing in Kingsport at the moment, I guess, is a pallet of OSB. That was a few years ago we could buy for $6 or $8 a sheet, and now it's anywhere from $38 to $42 a sheet. So that was laying on the ground. I don't know if that'll be there come Monday if someone doesn't go ahead and nail it to the side of the house. So that's good things. This is North Park. That's the townhome project that's going down near the Mad Greek restaurant across the street from it. That's where it's going. This is Everett's Valley. It's an extension of Edinburgh. They've cleared the trees, working on design. This is the one out on Breckenridge, which is Miller Park. And that's sort of a panoramic view so you can see more of the site. It's a very large site. St. Andrews Garth is the one we talked about before. And then this here is the brickyard that has went out, and we've been very, very excited about it. We did direct mailings to 65 individuals, organizations, or businesses. And those direct mailings did not just go to a company. We had a name to mail them to. Not only did we do that, we advertised in newspapers in all the major cities. These stars that you see represent every major news city: Charlotte, Nashville, Murfreesboro, Atlanta, Greenville, South Carolina, Winston-Salem. It was in their electronic version. What's important about the electronic version, we got 3 emails and phone calls this week from professional organizations that have automatic filters that search for projects. And so we get free advertisement from places like Dodge Plan Room calls, says, hey, we want an RFP, and they put it out, and they have hundreds of members. So it's important that people find us electronically, and it was a great response early in the week after that was advertised this past weekend. The direct mailings went to every place you see here. I named a few of them, including lower left. We had one in Texas, one in Wisconsin. The way we chose those people is we look at people that's currently doing development in Tennessee. We harvest their names from newspaper clippings that a gentleman to the right is really good at sending. We harvest them from internet searches. So anybody we mailed to is already doing a project in the state of Tennessee, and most likely from Nashville East. So we tried to be very focused on who we were sending them to. And then we did the same thing with emails. Everywhere you go, these were direct emails too. And we've had good response. Within 2 hours of sending these out electronically, we had phone calls and emails from Charlotte and Murfreesboro from 2 separate companies that were interested in the RFP for the brickyard. So it was very exciting to see such a quick response. A lot of people have questions about downtown. I love this picture, the old Citizen Supply. The joke is you can date people by what they call that area. If they call it Citizen Supply, they were in Kingsport a little earlier. If they call it the Moose Lodge, a little later. But that was included in the RFPs that KEDB put out. So you have the old Citizen Supply Moose Lodge, and then the property to the east, which is the empty lots. Those 2 projects went to 2 separate people, 2 separate companies. The Citizen Supply, the old Moose building, went to a construction company that's moving their offices from Virginia to Kingsport. They are also going to be adding an architectural office that they're renting to an architect. They also will have an interior design firm. They also will have a kitchen cabinets showroom. And then they still have around 2,500 to 3,000 square foot left in that building for a restaurant, of which they were negotiating with a couple as to what they were looking at to go in that old building. They're going to redo the old building is the current plans. They're not going to tear it down, redo it. They're going to do a full remodel. They've given us some renderings that their ideas look really good, and it'll be a great asset on Main Street. So just to the left, if you're facing that building, or to the east, is where there's those vacant lots. The plan is there's going to be townhomes. It's a group of 3 builders that's come together, 1 from Kingsport, 2 from Washington County, and they've got a great project there that's really going to bring a lot of people to downtown. So if the brickyard, we get a great response and get those homes over there, which could be over 100 easily, and then these townhomes will bring a lot more people to downtown, which transitions to more customers for our downtown businesses, and also is a better attraction for businesses in our downtown. So we're really excited about the response we had on that. We're getting a new restaurant on Broad Street. The gentleman graduated from DB's, moved away for years. He's been very successful in the restaurant business himself. That's how he's made his living. He's done big catering, and he's decided he wants to retire. Now, I don't know how you own a business and retire, but here's his idea. He's only going to serve breakfast and lunch. That's his idea of retirement. And so we've met with him multiple times. He's picked his space. He has a lease signed, and he's already got his living quarters in Kingsport, which is an achievement these days to go ahead and get your rental. He's renting an apartment. So we're really excited about having this new business coming to our downtown. An example of another business that they're doing their remodel right now. I can't give you the name yet. They want to make their own announcement. They've signed their lease. They're actually installing their stuff in the space in Green Acres. They're a nutritional food company. And here's the good thing about this company. They currently have multiple successful locations in East Tennessee, multiple cities in East Tennessee. They plan on the one in Kingsport being their first one in the Tri-Cities, and when they get done with it, they do plan on expanding to Bristol and Johnson City. So it's great to be able to tell you about 3 new businesses today: Tractor Supply, adding a store, this one, and then the other restaurant on Broad Street, where it's exciting. In talking with many people, you would not believe the number of phone calls, and we'll talk about it later on the retail sector, how many phone calls people are getting about needing space. So the next thing we want to look at is why this company chose Kingsport. You know, we love Kingsport. We've been here our whole life. You know, we know it's the greatest place. But when a business wants to come, they want to base it more on facts and numbers and research. And so we were able to use Buxton, which is our marketing software, to do some research specifically for this company. And the way we did that, this company, Buxton, for a short talk about them, they have most businesses in their database, and you can go and check every location, whether it's in California, New York State, Panhandle of Florida, Panhandle of Texas. We can go look at those locations and look at the demographics that visit those locations and know what type of customer goes to those places. Well, this business was not in Buxton's database because it's a smaller, it's a less than regional business. But the great thing about the Buxton software is I can go to the known locations of these businesses, click on their business, and do a demographic survey of the time frame and the businesses around them and give them close to the same data as if they were already in the Buxton database. So we did that for 3 sites. They chose Green Acres. They were thrilled with the information they got, and we were able to use this marketing tool from Buxton actually in the same week. There's another company looking at coming to Kingsport. It's I can't give the name out yet, but we've showed them around Kingsport for 2.5 hours showing them sites. And they were thrilled with the data that they could get because, like I said, here's your existing dealerships, here's the income around them, here's the education around them, here's the density of residential around them. These locations match what you're currently being successful at. So it's a great tool and very, very, very helpful. And so here's an example of what we would do. This example is not a company that's coming to Kingsport. I chose a location on Center Street so I'd be neutral. And we can be this detailed in our pinpoint research. We can look at population in whatever area we designate on the map. We can look at the age of that population in that map. And so, for instance, for this, I used a half a square mile circle around an intersection of Sullivan and Center Street, and I can right-click and go over here, and I know the population, I know the age, race, ethnicity. I also can come over here and look at what they make the household income is, even what the education is. And companies, when they're coming to Kingsport, that's some of the questions they look for in demographics. And so I had to split that in 2 slides because the right-hand side slides up and down and it wouldn't all fit on one. So that's an example of the research that we can do to help a customer. If you have a friend that wants to look at a business in Kingsport, you have a business in Kingsport and wants to see what the demographics are around your specific site, my information will be up here at the end. Give me a call, come and see me. We can run these reports for your specific business or potential business to help you in any way we can. We did another tool we have is drive time analysis. It's not just a circle that says it's a 2-mile ring. It actually calculates the drive time based on, you know, is it a 2-lane, is it a 4-lane, is there a bunch of red lights, is there a lot more traffic, a lot less traffic, and you can get an idea of how fast you can get to this location right there with that push pin in the center of the map. It's very helpful to businesses. Also, it'll show us the customer's city of residence. So when people visit Kingsport, there's 99% of the people have a mobile phone. We don't know who they are. We don't want to know that. That'd be illegal. But if you have a cell phone that does location, it sends all this data, and they can look, say, hey, this site here, which I designated the intersection of John B. Dennis and Stone Drive, is how many people go through that site and where do they come from? And check this out. That intersection, you have people from way up here northeast of Lebanon, Virginia, Wise. The darker it is, the more people. Pennington Gap, Jonesville, they love coming to Kingsport. Rogersville, look how many people from Johnson City come to Kingsport, and look how many people from Jonesboro come to Kingsport. It's amazing to see the traffic and stuff that comes through certain locations in our town. We also use it for identifying sites, and one of the things we're working on right now is identifying industrial land through KDB. We are looking at sites based on location, access to interstate, access for tractor and trailers. We do site evaluations. We look at the utilities, water, sewer, storm, what best fits the customer's needs. I went ahead and brought an example of a current project we're working on. This is land that the KDB has on Airport Parkway, and we look at each of these sites on their individual basis, and we're able to do tools like this, which really helps you. Oh, it's just a bunch of pretty colors. Well, it is, but what's amazing about it, without walking on that piece of property, and I can talk to a potential customer, is we can blow this chart up right here, and we can tell them how many acres based on the color area is flat, and how much is at 5% grade, how much is at 10% grade, and how much do you just want to stay away from. And so that is a great tool for someone when they can't come out and look at a site, and they're not just looking at topography lines on a plan. They can look at that and have a visual reference of how good the site is. This is not a good site, okay? The only flat area on this site right here is this nice pretty green right here. This purple is like at 28+% grade. It's very, very steep. But I wanted a plan that had a bunch of different colors, so it would be a great example of stuff we look at for customers. Good sites are tough to find. We live in East Tennessee. Housing developments are loving the great land. You know, the flatter the land, the easier it is to get houses on there. We're working at evaluating sites like we see, so we can have pad-ready sites for potential customers, investors in Kingsport and Northeast Tennessee. A lot of questions come up about retail. Pavilion. You know, we have a great relationship with the owner of Pavilion. He tried to call me in my last meeting, and I'll call him as soon as I get out of this one. But we have owners in this town that we can pick up on a Friday night at 6:30. He'll take my phone call because they are actively working very hard. And here's a quote from the owner of the Pavilion and their leasing company. They have had more unsolicited phone calls for property this year than they ever had in all their time in Kingsport. So they are working really hard. There's a lot of activity, a lot of people wanting to make decisions. And so it's great to hear that from our business owners, because the Pavilion's owner and the other retail centers owners in the area, they don't like empty stores either because they're not getting rent off of that. So it's great to have that relationship and to hear that feedback from them. So multiple people, they have one company that has signed a lease that's currently doing an interior remodel for that company at the Pavilion. I talked to him late last week. They're negotiating with another company that is not from Kingsport, this company I'm talking about right now. It'll be a new company to Kingsport. They're negotiating price as we speak, and they feel like they can get the deal done. Fort Henry Mall, everybody says, what's happening at Belk's and this? Well, I don't have hindsight's 2020, no pun intended, not even trying to make a joke there. But I went and talked to the manager at Belk's. You know, that's my wife. I used to be shy. I got over that a long time ago. I paid my twin brother to sell my candy bars in high school. I would not ask you to buy a candy bar from me. I got way past that. So I went and saw the manager and learned a lot. 30 minutes standing out in the clothes racks. They have plans to remodel all their point of sale locations in the store and their dressing rooms. That's their plans this year. They also, she said, see this rack of clothes over here? That's now a fulfillment center. Belk's corporate has made decisions to save dollars on warehouse space. They're actually filling online orders directly out of that store. Two of my kids work for Bed Bath & Beyond. They do the same thing. The stores have went to, they're taking it off the shelf and sending it out on the internet rather than warehousing it. And so part of what's happened in the last 18 months, it's made people really look at all their systems and refine them to where they can be competitive and remain competitive. And so it was great to hear that. Another big change they made, Belk says one of our goals is we don't want all these clearance racks. They used to have a bunch of clearance racks. And the manager said that's the reason people always come to see us was our clearance. They changed their merchandise to where they could have a lower price point and not have all this leftover clothes at the end of the year. Because when they have those leftover clearance racks, that's not good for a clothing retailer. And so had a great conversation with them, and she shared those plans with me directly. Another project we've worked on since we've been here is with Arrow Media, is we've put together a marketing booklet. My contact information, like I said, will be up here at the end. If you want an electronic copy of that, send me an email. It's done. This is the front cover. This is just an example of what you'll see in it. This is travel times for people looking at coming to Kingsport and how close we are to major metropolitan areas. And then the back cover will have my office phone number, and I got it bigger here in a minute. You won't have to worry about it. This is just, and then economic dev kingsport10.gov as a way to reach us. And if you have someone that's thinking about moving to Kingsport, someone that's thinking about visiting Kingsport, this has all of our parks, Bays Mountain, other places around us, what to do, a history of the city. It's a great tool to share with people visiting you to tell a little bit about Kingsport's story. My office phone, 229-9310. My email, johnrose@kingsport10.gov. My cell phone number, if you want to write it down. I won't be answering it on the 18th. My wife will shoot me. That's the 25th anniversary. My cell phone is 426-3524. If you ever need to get a hold of me, or any of these email addresses, both email addresses come directly to me. And then also part of the city's commitment to economic development is starting this year, in July, we're going to have an internship position open up in economic development. If you know a college student that is looking at economics, is looking at government administration, public administration, anything like that, my cell phone, email me a resume. We're going to start doing interviews here in the coming weeks. We want that person to start 1st of July. We would love to have somebody from Kingsport fill that position. And with that, I know I talked fast and probably didn't need the microphone, but that's okay. I'll open the floor up to any questions. And thank you for having me today. It's been a pleasure. We'll start in the back.